We now come to our last award of the evening, the Sony Impact Award for Current Affairs, which recognises the work of freelancers working in long-form current affairs, examining a single issue or a story that has an impact on the viewer, policy or public awareness. Before we see the three finalists' work, the judges felt that a special commendation should also go to Joshua Baker and Sarah Obaidat for their film, The Shamima Begum Story. The judges recognised it as a brilliant piece of filmmaking, riveting and shocking, and having the unique skill of providing the viewer with all the evidence to make their own conclusions. Well done to Joshua and Sarah.
And so now on to the Sony Impact Award finalists. First up is freelance journalist Marcel Mettil-Siefen from Germany and Jordan Bryan from Australia with Children of the Taliban. This film gives us incredibly rare but intimate access to Afghan society and shows us how profoundly situations can shape young lives. Let's take a look.
بچه فکر میکنه فامیل تر از دخترای فکر میکنه دخترها کار نمیتونه بچه فکر میکنه که ما میتونیم مرجعی بدیم اما دخترها که است تکنجا.
The story of Afghanistan is a story that's been told many times, but not in this way, and the level of access and the characters that the filmmakers found just took it to a new place. It was a film that stayed with you a long time after you finished watching it.
Afghanistan's children have endured decades of conflict and suffering. But since US forces withdrew a year ago and the hardline Taliban took over, life got a lot harder for most Afghans.
So the power of the human storytelling in this, I thought, was astonishingly well realised. He managed to get some of the strongest actuality I've seen in many years, and it unlocked the whole of Afghan society for me.
اما متاسفانه به آرزو نرسیدم. البته خداوند نخواسته که به آرزوی خود برسم.
Looking at the differences of the way that the film was made between two sets of young children was really pulling on heartstrings. It was opening up a world of, maybe that we are not so aware of, and the access, as I said, in the film was fantastic.
The most impressive scene in this film for me was the ending. These two girls who sort of dream about their future while you know this will be difficult. It was really touching and heartbreaking in a way, and what was so special about it in a way was that these children weren't just used to make it more touchy-feely, but that it really took these children protagonists seriously, this film, and that made it so strong.
As you can see, an extremely powerful film. Our second finalist in this category is Mariupol, the People's Story by Robin Barnwell from the UK, Hilary Anderson from the USA, and Sergei Solotko, and Taras Shmeyko, both from Ukraine. This incredible piece shows the tragedy of the Ukraine invasion, but also illuminates the unique courage and spirit of the Ukrainian people. Let's have a look and hear what the judges had to say.
Я услышал какой-то... А потом так...
There have been many films made about the Ukraine war. This film felt highly human and in the right point at the right time. They told a story that threw the audience into the action immediately. And it was harrowing and beautifully told. I thought the level of craft in it was astonishing, and it somehow encapsulated the whole war through a very particular moment in a very particular place. Beautifully realised.
I think what really struck me was the sensitivity of the filmmakers in the way they approached their subjects, and managed to elicit a really powerful response from them, and it showed their sensitivity and their skill.
Мой отец живет в России. Он полностью поддерживает сторону, наверное, Путина и, как они говорят, этой спецоперации. Он говорит, что это неправда, это сами ваши себе и обстреливают.
It was really told from within. That's kind of what I took from this, that you were able to relate very much to the characters in the film, and for me it was a very powerful message that was delivered in such a chilling and also dangerous scenario that they were facing when shooting this film.
What makes Mariupol stand out is that the story is really mostly told by the people from inside Mariupol, and it shows how harrowing their destiny is and how horrible their day-to-day lives have been throughout this time. But at the same time, it also shows how resilient and strong and determined Ukrainians are to not let Putin win.
Our third and final finalist is Jessica Kelly with her film Under Poisoned Skies. Filmed in southern Iraq, where some of the world's largest oil fields are situated, Jessica gives us an insight into the impact of gas flaring on the environment and on ordinary people in Iraq. Let's have a look and hear what the judges thought.
تعودت دائما كل ما أطلع من البيت هاي الشغلات ببكي. المريض علي حسين جهلود مرض سرطان بالدم.
أنا عايش في منطقة الرمال الشمالية بجانب شركة نفطية بريطانية اللي هي شركة البيبي.
Under Poisoned Skies was a very original and innovative story with massive impact around the world. It felt beautifully crafted and was highly cinematic. We thought it was an astonishing piece of work.
I thought the film was beautifully shot, but what stuck most with me were the children and the ill people this film was showing and portraying, not just as victims, but also as human beings. And then to really see the whole story through, with going back with the scientists and also having an impact on the families that way, I thought that was extraordinarily well done.
قمت بس ما أمشي، رجلين يعني ما أقدر أمشي، بقيت بس إبرة واحدة وحاطة الملبن.
I think Under Poisoned Skies, for me, was certainly a topic that was kind of undiscovered, something that I wasn't fully aware of, and the way that the film was shot really gave us a true insight into what is happening in this area, and the beauty of the way that the piece was delivered was fantastic.
This was a unique and intimate portrait of the lives of people in constant danger from toxic pollution. It was a mesmeric film in many respects to watch. Most beautiful cinematography.
وخلال عملية الحرق هذه تم بعث كميات هائلة من المواد الكيميائية السامة المضرة بالصحة.
So there we have our 3 Sony Impact Award for Current Affairs finalists, all stories with extraordinary impact. It is worthy of mention that Sony were founding sponsors of the Rory Peck Awards and have been loyal in their support of the Trust for 28 years. That's quite a legacy. And to announce the winner, please come up onto the stage, James Leach, Category Head at Sony Europe.
Hello, good evening everybody. I'm really honoured to be here tonight on behalf of Sony, and I'd like to thank all of the Rory Peck for inviting me. I've been a judge now at the awards for the last 2 years, And it's really humbling to see the determination, the skill, and the bravery that all of the freelancers display on a day-to-day basis. The stories that the freelancers and the camera operators portray, alongside their individual acts of bravery, are truly amazing, and this year was no exception in the quality of all the films that made it to the final judging session. We at Sony aim to develop our technology and our products to help support all of the operators in every possible scenario. But I must admit that what the freelancers do with all of our tools is way beyond what engineers can imagine on a day-to-day basis. As already mentioned, Sony has now been supporting the Trust since its creation over 28 years, and our tools have developed over time, aiming not only to be reliable and provide great quality images, but also to give peace of mind that all of the freelancers can concentrate on delivering their stories safely. So thank you again to the Rory Peck Trust, and thank you for all the vital support that you bring to the world's most talented freelancers. So I'm now going to announce the winner of the Sony Impact Award for Current Affairs, but I'm also very pleased to award them with a new Sony FX6 camera in recognition for their work. So, the 2023 Sony Impact Award for Current Affairs goes to Jessica Kelly for Under Poison Skies.
Okay, wow, I wasn't expecting a camera, and I've just come back from a shoot using that, and it was brilliant, and before I'd been using a Canon, so yeah. Thank you, Rory Peck, for this amazing recognition. It was nearly 9 years ago that you funded me to do my first hostile environment training, despite very few credentials, and that early support made all the difference. Under Poison Skies was a really challenging film to make. We had to stand up very serious allegations against some of the world's most powerful oil companies. And I cannot stress enough how brilliant, supportive, and ambitious all of the team at BBC Arabic were. Mustafa Khalili, Rosie Garthwaite, Carol, and Owen, and Mo. Thank you so much for everything that you did. This film took a huge toll on all of us, but nothing compares to the slow violence that the families who live around the oil fields have been subjected to. During the course of the film, four of the people we filmed with passed away from pollution-linked cancers, and Ali, the main character in the film, died of leukemia just a few months after the film came out. But it's also the most rewarding film I've ever had the privilege to make. A few days after Ali died, his father had the opportunity to confront BP's then CEO, Bernard Looney, at the company's annual general meeting. He described the toxic environment that his son had been exposed to, living in the shadow of the near constant gas flaring, which was illegally close to their homes. And that rare moment of accountability made our work feel so worthwhile. With all of that said, it's difficult to be here today and fully enjoy this achievement with so many filmmakers and journalists being killed in such large numbers. Since October the 7th, 42 journalists have been killed, 1 Lebanese, 4 Israelis, and 37 Palestinians, which makes this the deadliest 4-week period since records began 30 years ago. Many of us in the room, like me, have had the privilege of weighing up the risks before you go and report from a war zone. But for many journalists in Gaza, they don't have that privilege. They wouldn't be able to leave if they wanted to, and they know that their cameras are our only means for receiving news from the ground. I wanted to share with you this message from Salman al-Bashir, a Gaza-based journalist who found out when he was live on air that his colleague, Mohammed Abu Hattab, had been killed by an Israeli airstrike along with 11 members of his family. He broke down into tears, tore off his protective gear, and said, "These shields don't protect us. They are merely slogans. We are losing souls one after the other, and nobody sees us. Rory Peck has done so much to keep journalists safe, and today I believe we have a duty to extend our solidarity and demand the protection of our colleagues covering this conflict, many of whom are paying not only with their lives, but with the lives of their families. Thank you.
Congratulations, Jessica. First-class film. Now let us welcome to the stage our other outstanding finalists in this category. Firstly, Marcel and Jordan for their film, Children of the Taliban.
Hello. Guys, this is amazing. Like, all of these freelancers here, we are amazing. Freelancers are legendary. Really, yes. Really. Massive shout out to all of us. We're all fantastic. And I just want to second Sanket, my new best friend. I don't know who you are, but you gave an amazing speech. And Kelly, phenomenal. The names that were scrolling on the screen there, like how many of those names had the privilege to be in this room? We are very privileged people to be sitting here having this moment. We as freelancers and the people supporting us as freelancers, we've got to give the people who don't have this privileged access a leg up. The people that we're working with, okay, I don't know, somebody, I don't remember who you were, but like, the word fixer, it's a dirty word for me. They are not fixers, they're co-producers, they're co-directors. They are putting themselves at way more risk than any of us ever would. And I think we really need to recognize that and acknowledge that we're all so amazing, but they're also amazing. We're all amazing.
Thank you, Rory Peck Trust. I think I just came back from 2.5 weeks working in Israel and Palestine. The world is becoming dark and darker and darker. And Jessica, I think you just said everything which express the need in order to keep on working as we try to tell the stories which are so difficult and becoming more and more difficult. So thank you again for your trust, for your making our work possible, and thank you for being here.
Now, sadly, our other finalists, Robin, Hilary, Sehe and Taras, could not make it, but they have sent this message.
Hi, I'm Hilary Anderson, the producer of Mariupol, The People's Story, and it's great to be here tonight, or at least you're there and I'm here recording this for you. But, on behalf of our whole team, thanks for the recognition. That is Director Robin Barnwell, Executive Producers Darren Kemp of Top Hat Productions and Tom Stone of Panorama's editor, Karen Whiteman, and of course, our very talented and dedicated and multi-award-winning Ukrainian team, Taras Shumeko and Sarhi Solodko. Without them, this would have been impossible. This was a really, really difficult project. We were trying to get testimony, footage out of Mariupol from the very first days of the siege, when you couldn't get a phone call through, when there was no light, there was no electricity, there was no food, no water. And we heard time and time again from the people who had managed to get out that they had taken footage, but that they had deleted it to get through the Russian checkpoints because the Russians were checking people's phones. And the deeper we got into this project, the more impossible it seemed because everything had been deleted. But we spent 7 months scouring Ukraine and scouring Europe for anybody who had been in Mariupol and survived it, gotten out with any scraps of footage on their phone. And it was that footage that we built this film out of. And of course, the testimony of the contributors. The idea behind this film was to get as deep into the emotional world and experiential world of the people who had lived through what happened in Mariupol as was humanly possible. The idea was that this was not going to be a film where we told their story. This was going to be their film. And if there's any thanks, it's due to the people who sat down for interviews that went on for 6 to 8 hours or more, and who actually told us their stories. And in all cases, actually, very soon after they had been through the traumas. I think everybody we interviewed broke down at some point, just from the trauma of it. So, yeah, they lived through it, they survived it. This is their story. They told it, they filmed it, and we had the privilege to put it together. Thank you.
Well, thank you all. And thank you very much to Sony for supporting the Rory Peck Awards since their beginning. We have now come to the end of the awards part of the evening. Huge congratulations again to all our winners and finalists. Thank you to the judges and the Trust sponsors, Associated Press, Google News Initiative, the Embassy of Sweden, and Sony. Without them, none of this would be possible.